Ladies and gentlemen, you want kill your laziness. Let me speak to that. Forget the stats, forget the age. Right now, you are alive, breathing, and ready for more. Laziness is not a curse. It's a choice you make over and over. When you hit the snooze button, when you surf another hour, when you linger in comfort while opportunity slips right past you. But listen, that choice doesn't have to define you. Not today, not ever again. Laziness whispers, just a little more rest. But what it really means is, stay small. You have greatness in you. You were born for bigger dreams, louder victories, deeper courage. Every morning you wake, you've got a decision to make. Stay in the shadows of what could be, or step into the light of who you were meant to become. Let me tell you something. Success isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's built by people who say, I'll get up. It's shaped by the ones who struggle and don't fold. You want to kill your laziness, you have to decide, do you want excuses or results? Do you want yesterday's comfort or tomorrow's triumph? If you want different, you've got to do different. That's the truth. No more waiting for the perfect time. No more letting fear strike first. Fear loves laziness. Fear wants you dormant, but you are awake. You stand, you act. Picture yourself 5 years from now. Are you bigger, sharper, more disciplined? Or are you weighed down by the dreams you never chased? Because here's the hard reality. Laziness compounds. Small neglects, just 10 minutes longer in bed, a skipped workout, a delayed email, pile up. One day you look in the mirror and you realize you're not who you wanted to be, and all along the quiet voice in your head, the one that said, just this once, had built your prison. Ladies and gentlemen, so here's what you do. You treat time as gold, you respect it, you honor it. You rise before the sun to fight for your vision. You break work into tasks and tasks into moments. You embrace discipline like it's a long, lost friend, because it is. Kill your laziness by designing your day, by setting standards. Don't just dream, plan, wake up. Not because the alarm tells you to, but because your ambition demands it. Do the thing you least want to. Every single day, the most uncomfortable work grows you fastest. You think greatness is comfortable. No, it's gritty. It's early mornings, burning muscles, cold showers. It's showing up on the day you don't feel like it. It's sweating when the sun's not up, writing when your soul aches, practicing when your mind screams enough. Here's a secret. Motivation won't wake you up. Passion won't drive you when comfort seduces you. What will? Purpose. And to find that purpose, you ask yourself, why? Why do I want this goal? Why now? Why not tomorrow? If today could be my breakthrough, once you lock that in, you show up, you grind. You're not seeking applause, you're chasing progress, you stack wins, tiny daily victories, you get better bit by bit, you evolve, you will fall, you will fail, but notice, failure is not the enemy. Laziness is. Failures are lessons. Laziness keeps you from ever stepping into the ring. It keeps you asleep on the sidelines. When your mind screams rest, tell it this, rest will get me nowhere. When your body protests, say pain is temporary, vision is forever. When others doubt, let their doubt become your fuel, but don't look to them for validation. Look within. You're writing your story. You are the author. Commit. Commit to the schedule, the rituals, make your bed. Stretch, train your body, train your mind, read, learn, plan, and then act today when the fire inside you still burns, because that fire is what'll fight your laziness. That fire is your soul telling you, I'm not done yet. Every day is a chance to define you. No excuses, no comfort zone, only movement, only discipline, only execution. You'll make the phone call, launch the project, pen the chapter. Even when it's scary, even when it's exhausting, because lazy people don't reach their potential. You will. Let no one fool you. Life doesn't hand out dreams. You take them. With sweat, with sacrifice, with consistency. When you kill your laziness, you're not just awake. You're alive, and your life becomes a message. That potential means nothing until you do something with it. So get up. Fill your lungs with air. Shake off the sleep. It's your time. Keep going when others stop. Keep fighting when others quit. Every rep, every page, every call. Each one is a step away from lazy and a step toward legendary. Don't stop, not today, not ever. Your greatness is calling. Silence the laziness, stand up. Go, laziness is not something you inherit. It's not a curse passed down from your father, not a shadow following you from childhood. It's not in your DNA, not etched into your destiny. Laziness is a choice. Every single day you make that decision, whether to get up and fight or to lie down and wait for something magical to happen. Spoiler, nothing happens to those who wait in stillness, who give excuses a louder voice than effort. You see, we live in a world that wants to trick you. It tells you that you need to feel inspired before you act. It lies. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need a perfect plan or a mood to get started. You just need to choose to move. Laziness tells you that you're tired when you're not. It tells you that you'll do it tomorrow, when tomorrow never promised it would give you another chance. It convinces you that there's always more time, more energy, more chances, but there's not. What you have is now. That's the only real moment that exists, right now. Choosing laziness is like sitting in a car with the engine running but never putting it in drive. You've got the fuel, you've got the destination in your heart. You know what you want, but you don't move, you don't go, so you stay stuck. Watching life pass you by, watching people who were less talented, less skilled, less privileged, win. And you wonder how they did it, how they pulled it off. It's not luck, it's not magic. It's the decision to move. They chose to beat laziness before it beat them. When you accept laziness, you invite regret. And regret is far heavier than any moment of hard work you ever avoided. The weight of what could have been is crushing, and it starts small, missing one workout, skipping one practice, pushing one deadline. But it grows, and suddenly you're not just tired. You're stuck in a life that doesn't reflect your potential. You start blaming the world, blaming time, blaming others, when the truth is it was you. You made the call to stay in bed. You made the call to scroll instead of study, to complain instead of act. You want to know why laziness feels good in the moment, because it's easy, because it doesn't ask for anything from you. It gives you an illusion of peace, but it steals your progress. It gives you silence, but it robs you of achievement. It makes you feel safe, while it's quietly killing every dream you ever had. But you're not powerless. You're not chained to that feeling. You can choose something else. Right now, nobody wakes up successful. They get up and grind until success can't ignore them. They say yes to things that challenge them. They say yes to effort even when it hurts. And every time laziness whispers in their ear, they answer with discipline. They answer with movement. They answer with fire. You've got to start realizing that the lazy version of you, that voice in your head saying, "Take it easy," that's not your friend. It's your enemy in disguise. It wants you weak. It wants you distracted. It wants you to waste every gift you were given. And you've got too much inside you to let that happen. Too many dreams, too much talent, too much purpose. You can't afford to keep saying "not today" to your destiny. Every moment you choose action over comfort, you build strength, and that strength grows. It becomes who you are. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop playing small. You stop doubting what you're capable of. You start waking up with fire. You start moving with confidence. You stop needing motivation because you've got something better. Habit. Rhythm, standard. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of laziness. A version with discipline in the bones, clarity in the mind, and a heart that refuses to settle. But you won't meet that version if you keep choosing the path of least resistance. Comfort is a slow killer. It doesn't take your life in one blow. It chips away at it, day by day, year by year, until you barely recognize yourself. You've got to choose discomfort, choose effort. Choose that early morning run, that late night study session, that extra rep, that final draft, that phone call you've been avoiding. Choose it again and again, because that's how you kill laziness. You don't kill it in one dramatic moment. You starve it every day. You cut off its oxygen by refusing to give it time, space, or attention. And yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to push you. But guess what? That's where the gold is. That's where the growth happens. That's where your life changes. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. If it were simple, everyone would be walking around fulfilled. But they're not, because most people choose easy. Most people choose excuses. You don't have to be most people. Look around, look at the lives of those you admire, not just the famous ones. The people in your circle who are really living, they chose effort. They chose to work while others rested. They chose to fight through pain, fatigue, boredom, and doubt. And they keep choosing it over and over. That's what separates them. It's not talent, it's not access. It's their decisions, and don't think for a second that they don't struggle. Don't think they don't feel lazy too. Everyone does. But they learned how to silence that voice. They learned to do it anyway, to act before they felt ready, to show up before the confidence arrived. Because confidence isn't born from comfort. It's built in the fire of repeated action. That voice in your head that says, wait, or it can be done later, or why bother? That voice is trying to rob you of your greatness. It's not your intuition, it's not your truth, it's fear, it's hesitation dressed up as logic, it's weakness pretending to be self. Care, don't fall for it. The most successful people in the world aren't lazy, not because they don't feel it, but because they choose differently. They've learned to act despite the feeling. That's the muscle you have to build. That's the war you've got to win. Not once, but every single day. The war between the lazy you and the unstoppable you. And that battle is fought in the first step, in the choice to move, in the decision to do the work even when everything in you says don't. So stand up, move, don't wait for perfect, don't wait for energy. Don't wait for someone to come drag you into purpose. That someone is you. You've had the power all along. You just forgot. You just got quiet, comfortable, distracted. But now you remember. Now you see clearly. Laziness isn't your truth. It's just a lie you believed for too long. But that belief ends today. Motivation feels good. It hits you like a wave. Gets your heart pumping, your mind racing, your spirit on fire. But let me tell you something that'll shift your whole mindset. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. It shows up on good days. It claps for you when things are exciting. But when life gets heavy, when the days get long, when no one's watching and everything gets quiet, motivation vanishes. Discipline, though, that's what stays. Discipline is the friend that doesn't leave. It's the driver when motivation walks out. That's why discipline wins. See, people spend their lives chasing that feeling. That rush of wanting to act, that lightning bolt of excitement. But they forget that feelings lie, feelings change, and if your success, your habits, your dreams are all tied to whether or not you feel like it, you'll never go far. You'll start things, but you won't finish them. You'll talk about plans, but you won't execute, because the moment the motivation fades, and it always fades, you stop moving. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. That's its power. Discipline is the system you build so that action doesn't depend on emotion. It's getting up at 5 a.m., not because you're hyped to do it, but because you said you would. It's showing up to the gym on a bad day. It's sitting at your desk and writing when the words aren't flowing. It's studying when your mind is tired. It's pushing when no one's applauding. Discipline is that quiet force that turns ordinary people into legends. There's this myth that successful people are constantly fired up, constantly inspired, constantly ready to go. They're not. They've just mastered discipline. They don't wait to feel good. They create a standard and they live by it. Whether they feel tired or energized, focused or scattered, they show up. They don't negotiate with themselves. They don't ask, do I feel like it today? They ask, what did I promise myself I'd do? And then they do it. That's the difference between the people who dream and the people who do. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. It's what turns that vision into reality. It's what keeps your feet moving when the road gets hard. You don't rise by doing things when it's easy. You rise by doing them when it's not. And that's the grind that builds greatness. Discipline doesn't shout, it doesn't shine. It doesn't post on social media. Discipline is quiet. It's in the small choices, the alarm you don't snooze, the reps you don't skip, the meals you don't cheat, the hours you put in when no one's looking. Those moments might seem small, but stacked together, they change your life. They shape your character, they build trust in yourself, because that's what discipline really does. It builds self-respect. Every time you follow through, every time you honor your word to yourself, you grow stronger inside. You begin to believe that you're someone who finishes what you start. That belief is dangerous. In the best way, it makes you unstoppable. You stop depending on outside motivation. You stop being a slave to your moods. You become the kind of person who moves anyway. Let's be real, motivation is seasonal. Discipline is daily. You're not always going to want to do what it takes, and that's okay. You're not supposed to want it all the time. But you do it anyway. That's the mindset shift. It's not about what you feel like doing. It's about what you decided you're going to do. That decision. That's your weapon. That decision is stronger than fatigue, louder than excuses, sharper than laziness. You don't have to love the process every second. You just have to respect it. And if you keep showing up day after day, the results will come. Not instantly, not magically, but they will, and they'll be earned. Most people are waiting for motivation to knock on their door, but while they're waiting, someone else is building, training, improving, and that person is going to pass them every time. Why? Not because they're more talented, but because they didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't wait to be inspired, they got up and moved. Discipline turns you into someone who doesn't need perfect conditions. Rain or shine, busy or bored, inspired or drained. You get it done. You stay consistent. You learn to love the grind. You fall in love with showing up, because that's where progress lives. And after a while, you don't just get better. You become different. Your mind sharpens. Your body changes. Your spirit strengthens. You stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. You stop letting your day control you and start controlling your day. And when people see the transformation, they'll call it motivation. They'll say, "Wow, you're so motivated." But you'll know the truth. It wasn't motivation. It was work. It was commitment. It was doing what needed to be done, even when you didn't feel like it. Think about this. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is foundational. You can't build a life on emotion alone. It's like building a house on sand. One shift in the wind, one hard day, and it all falls apart. But if you build on discipline, on routines, on habits, on structure, then your life has a foundation. Something solid, something that doesn't shake when the storms come, because storms will come, bad days will come, setbacks, failures, criticism, self-doubt, they're all coming. The question is, will you be ready? Not motivated, ready. Will you have the structure in place to move forward anyway? Will you be the kind of person who still puts in the work when everything inside you says quit? That's what separates real from average. That's what turns dreams into legacy. Not hype, not emotion, not good vibes, but discipline. Unshakable, uncompromising discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it works every time you want to change your life. Build discipline like it's your only option, because when the motivation is gone, and it will be gone, discipline is what's going to pull you out of bed, carry you through the lows, and push you through the finish line. So stop waiting, stop hoping for that one magical day when everything clicks and you suddenly want to do all the hard things. That day isn't coming. What's coming is your next test, your next moment of discomfort. And in that moment, discipline is the answer. It's the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Cross it every day, every time. Failure hurts. No lie about that. It stings. It embarrasses. It humbles, but failure is not the enemy. In fact, failure is one of your greatest teachers. If you let it be. What's worse than falling on your face is never stepping out at all. Inaction is the true killer. It's the dream thief, the quiet enemy. It's comfortable, it's silent, it's easy. And that's why it's dangerous. Failure at least shows you tried. Inaction means you never gave yourself the chance. People fear failure because they think it defines them. But failure doesn't define you. Your reaction to failure does. You can take a hit and rise stronger, or you can spend your life trying to avoid every mistake, every misstep, every risk. But here's the truth. You can't avoid failure and still grow. They don't coexist. If you're trying to grow, trying to evolve, you're going to fail. Often, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's how you learn what works and what doesn't. That's how you sharpen your instincts. That's how you build resilience. In action, though, that's safe. But safe isn't powerful. Safe doesn't challenge you. Safe doesn't build legacy. It just keeps you stuck. And you can be stuck for a long time without even realizing it. Because when you're inactive, the days blend, the weeks roll by, and one day you look back and realize nothing has changed. Not because life held you back, but because you held yourself back. You weren't rejected. You just didn't apply. You didn't lose. You just never competed. You didn't get criticized. You just never created, and deep down you know it. You know those moments you talked yourself out of action. You know those times you convinced yourself the timing wasn't right, that you weren't ready, that you'd do it tomorrow. But how many tomorrows have passed since then? How many ideas have died because you were afraid to fail? You need to start seeing failure for what it is, progress in disguise. Every time you fall, you get feedback. Every time you miss, you get closer to the mark. But when you stay still, there's nothing to learn, nothing to improve, nothing to build on, because you didn't do anything. And that's where the real danger is, not in trying and losing, but in not trying at all. You don't build confidence by standing still. You don't build skills by overthinking. You build both by doing, by stepping into the unknown, by making moves while your hands are still shaking. And when it doesn't work out, because sometimes it won't, you don't quit. You adjust, you adapt, you go again. That's the mindset you need. That's the mindset winners live by. They don't fear failure. They fear wasted potential. They fear being the same person 5 years from now. They fear regret more than rejection, and that fear fuels them to act, to risk, to move. You want to build something real. Accept that failure is part of the process. The path to greatness is paved with losses, rejections, do-overs. That's just how it works, but every one of those moments builds something in you, a callus, a lesson, a layer of strength. It sharpens your edge. It prepares you for the big wins. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail forward, the ones who fall and keep getting back up, the ones who turn their losses into lessons and their lessons into power. They stay in motion because motion creates momentum. And momentum beats perfection every time. Inaction might feel safe, but it costs you everything. It costs you growth. It costs you time. It costs you belief in yourself. Because the more you hesitate, the more doubt creeps in. And doubt, when fed long enough, becomes truth. You start to believe you can't. You start to believe you're not ready, but that belief was born from inaction, not reality. If you want to kill that doubt, you've got to move. Action is the antidote. Action gives you proof. Even small steps matter. Even small moves build evidence that you're capable, and that evidence stacks. Suddenly, you're not waiting for permission anymore. You're not waiting for the perfect plan. You're taking shots, and each one, whether it hits or not, teaches you something, builds something, shifts something. Let people laugh, let them doubt, let them say what they want. Because while they talk, you're doing. While they analyze, you're learning. While they sit still, you're moving forward. Maybe not fast, maybe not smooth, but forward, always forward. That's the difference. That's the decision you have to make every day. Not will I fail, but will I act? Because failing after trying is noble. Staying stuck in fear is not. Your destiny depends on action, on showing up again and again, on swinging at life with everything you've got, and make no mistake, it will swing back. You'll get knocked down, you'll doubt yourself, you'll want to quit, but that's all part of it. Every hit you take, every time you fall, every moment you think you're done, it's shaping you, sharpening you, teaching you what works and what doesn't. Don't avoid that, don't try to skip that. You need those lessons, you need that fire, that pain, that clarity. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but it's turning you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone capable of handling the weight of real success. So start. Do it scared. Do it messy. Do it imperfectly. Just do it, because the clock doesn't stop, and every second you spend frozen in fear is a second you could have used building, creating, learning, becoming. Don't trade progress for peace of mind. Don't trade your vision for comfort. Don't trade your future for a little bit of temporary safety. Let failure come. Let it show you where you need to grow, but don't ever let inaction sit at your table. It has nothing to offer you. It won't help you build. It won't help you rise. It won't help you become who you were meant to be. Only action can do that. Even flawed, uncertain, stumbling action. Move forward, fall forward, fail forward, but never stand still. Legacy isn't built in one moment. It's not made in a viral success or one break through night. It's crafted in silence, in sweat, in repetition, one day at a time, one choice at a time. People think legacy is about being remembered. It's not. It's about what you leave behind through the life you lived, through the impact of your consistent action. It's about how you showed up when it wasn't convenient. It's about the little things done well over and over again. You don't wake up one day and become great. You become great in the ordinary, in the discipline of doing what needs to be done even when it doesn't feel like it matters. Because the truth is, every move matters. Every step you take toward becoming better, it counts. Every rep you push out, every word you write, every minute you spend sharpening your skills, it all adds up. That's what builds a legacy. Not the big wins, but the consistency behind them. The person who runs every morning in the dark before the world wakes up, that's legacy in motion. The student who rewrites their notes one more time even though no one's watching, that's legacy. The entrepreneur making cold calls every single day, hearing no 100 times but showing up for number 101, that's legacy. Not because those actions were glamorous, but because they were done with purpose, with vision, with a refusal to be average. There's no secret, there's no shortcut. You've got to do the work, and not just once. Every day, legacy demands it. You want people to remember your name, then earn it. Day in and day out, even when you're tired. Even when you don't see the results yet, especially when you're doubting yourself, you've got to keep moving. What separates winners from talkers is execution. A lot of people talk a good game. They post quotes. They hype themselves up. They plan big. But when it's time to act, they disappear because action is hard. It doesn't always come with applause. It rarely brings instant rewards, but it always brings progress. And progress is where legacy lives. You don't become excellent by doing something once. You become excellent by doing it until it becomes part of who you are, until it's your instinct, until your standard is so high that even your average day looks extraordinary to others. That kind of life comes from habits, not hope, from effort, not excuses. You've got 24 hours just like anyone else. What you do with them, that's what sets you apart. Every single day, you have a choice to step closer to your vision or drift away from it. It's not about making one giant leap. It's about making small moves with giant purpose. It's about respecting the process and knowing that what you do in private will eventually show up in public. You want the spotlight? Handle the shadows. Handle the grind when no one sees it, when no one's clapping. That's where your character is built. That's where your story is written, and it's not a headline moment that writes it. It's the discipline to wake up and go again and again and again. There's power in routine. There's strength in repetition. There's greatness in structure. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to win every day. But you do have to show up every day. Because when you stack enough ordinary days done with extraordinary effort, you become unstoppable. You become undeniable. People will look at your life and call it talent, but what they didn't see was the grind. The lonely hours, the sacrifices, the decisions you made every single day to keep pushing. That's what they call luck, but you'll know. It wasn't luck. It was built carefully, patiently, relentlessly. You've got to decide what kind of legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered as someone who could have, should have, almost did? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who lived it out loud, who never waited for perfect, who took every day as a chance to get better, even just by 1%? Legacy isn't what you say, it's what you do repeatedly. You don't have to do something massive today, but you have to do something that aligns with your values, with your vision, with who you're becoming, and then you do it again tomorrow. You don't let your circumstances decide your work ethic. You don't let your mood decide your direction. You wake up and you execute because the life you want demands it. Think of the compound effect. One day of action won't change your life, but 100, 1,000, now you're a different person. Not because of one dramatic choice, but because of all the tiny ones you made when no one was watching. Because of how you handled the days that felt ordinary. When you feel tired, when you feel unseen, when it feels like nothing is changing, that's the moment that matters most. That's where most people give up. That's where they coast. But that's also where the gap is. The gap between average and excellent, between forgettable and legendary, and the only way to cross that gap is by acting daily, consistently, intentionally. Don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for motivation to slap you across the face. You already know what you need to do. The question is, will you do it today, and will you do it tomorrow? Will you show up even when no one is checking in? That's the difference. Maker, that's what builds legacy. It's not about speed, it's about direction. And if you keep moving in the right direction, you'll look up one day and realize you've become someone others look to. Someone who didn't just chase dreams, but caught them. Because you did the work when it didn't feel magical. You kept the promise to yourself when it would have been easier to break it. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things every day, the basics mastered, the little things honored. You don't need more time. You need more commitment to the time you already have. You need the courage to stay consistent when the excitement wears off. When all is said and done, your legacy won't be built on what you hope to do. It'll be built on what you actually did, not in one glorious sprint, but in the quiet daily grind. That's where your greatness is, in the work, in the routine, in the decision to rise every morning and put purpose into motion. Again and again and again.